Welcome back to the Square. I'm your host, Curtis the Fifth.
And I'm Curtis the Fourth.
So today this is going to be take 2 of us trying to get this mock draft done. But we are going to do a mock first round of the NFL draft. It is April 28th. The draft is tomorrow. So we just wanted to give our kind of takes on the picks themselves. Not specifically. I mean, obviously we're going to be making our picks here, but we're not going to be saying that these are the definitive choices for that matter. It's really just about what direction are these teams going, having a little bit of a conversation on kind of what we should expect for these teams kind of moving forward into tomorrow's draft. Now, I have the evens here. You have the odds. And basically, the only real rule that we have is that we're not doing any kind of draft day trades or anything like that. There have been a few trades that are set in stone. So, yes, San Francisco does have the third pick. Miami's at 6, Philadelphia's at 12 and whatnot. But with those picks and with those trades that have happened already, we will go with those, but we will not be making any of our own speculatory trades or anything like that. So with that being said, we can go ahead and dive right in and get that first pick out of the way.
Well, at number one, we don't want to sit there and waste anybody's time. And now we're doing take 2. So I'm just going to we're not going to waste anybody's time. Trevor Lawrence, hands down, quarterback from Clemson, will be going to Jacksonville, barring something doesn't happen to Mr. Lawrence himself before tomorrow. So with that, Trevor Lawrence will be absolutely the number one quarterback of the draft and for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right, so at pick 2, we're going to go with Zach Wilson again, not wasting anybody's time. We know what the deal is. They are enamored with him. I don't think he's the second best quarterback, but I do think he will be the second pick in the draft. So that will be the pick there with the New York Jets taking Zach Wilson out of BYU at pick 2. You got 3, sir.
Say again?
You got number 3.
Number 3. Well, this is where it supposedly gets interesting. San Francisco wants to play this shell game and don't want to let anybody know, or let the outside public really know what direction that they're going in for quarterback, because obviously they're trading up to get a quarterback. But there's been a carousel between Mac Jones and then you had Justin Fields as well as Trey Lance. The reports have been almost split down the middle for all three, and a case can be made for all three. All we know as of right now is that it should be one of these three.
Yeah.
Now, so our job and my job here is to sit there and figure out who most likely is the one that they're going to grab. It definitely, granted, it should be Justin Fields. That's actually a sexy pick. However, I don't think that's the direction that they're going to go with at the end of the day. And I think that I come to understand or believe that if San Francisco just did that due diligence, this frustrating part is the fact that they just don't want to share what their discoveries or what their findings were, which makes no sense, being that they basically, outside of two players, you have the field. So there's no reason to be so obscure about what direction you're going in. Everybody knows you're getting a quarterback. So the question is just, who is it? And let's move on. Well, with that, I think they're going to come back full circle, and I believe number 3 will be Mac Jones.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I do agree. I think it will be Mac Jones, but again, I think Justin Fields would easily be the best choice there, because he will make that Kyle Shanahan offense something completely special. And so I think it's kind of idiotic for them to go anywhere else, but it looks like it's going to be Mac Jones instead of Justin Fields. So Atlanta, they have 3 choices here at 4, and I think that their best choice would be drafting Trey Lance. I don't think that they are going to do that, so I will get to my pick in a minute here, but I think the reason why Trey Lance would be the best pick for Atlanta is simply because with their situation, I think that they need to go into a soft core rebuild, and I think that Trey Lance is the one guy who we all know just needs to sit for a couple of years, develop, and get better. Just mentally for the game. I think he's got the physical talent. I think he has kind of the athleticism to be able to thrive in the NFL. He just needs to simply understand the game a little bit more. He's really a raw prospect. Now Justin Fields, the reason why I wouldn't go with him for Atlanta is simply because he just he would, as you said when we tried recording this before, specifically Justin Fields, he is going to demand that starting role. He is that good. And I think especially once we get past week 1, week 2, where Atlanta starts off a little bit rocky, as they always do, they simply would just be clamoring for Justin Fields to be the new starter. They just
Mm-hmm.
get Matt Ryan out of here. Let's try Justin Fields, which I don't think would be a great situation for him, especially if you have to trade away Julio Jones. You're not going to have the weapons.
It'd be a PR nightmare over
Yeah,
there for Atlanta.
simple, and that's just simply put. So I think if you're going to go quarterback, go Trey Lance, sit him, and really develop that quarterback as much as you possibly can. And with the rest of the draft, and once you get your kind of salary cap situation figured out, rebuild your team around Trey Lance. And then once you have the option to trade away Matt Ryan, you go ahead and do that. Now, what I do think they're going to do, unfortunately, which I think is kind of, unless they do trade away the pick, the unfortunate thing that they could do is end up trading or taking Kyle Pitts with this pick. And if they are going to take anybody, I think it will be Kyle Pitts. And that's really unfortunate because it just seems like they're going in a direction that they're trying to run it back with a suspect offense where their offensive line needs help. They do have other weapons to throw to, and they have a kind of dismal running game right now. I don't even know who their starting running back is as it stands right now. And then on the other side, their defense is the thing that seriously needs help. That's the thing that's been killing them year in and year out with this kind of Matt Ryan era in the NFL for them. They just really can't get their defense figured out. So I think any other pick would be great. If you would wanted to go with Micah Parsons here to help fix your defense, that would be a great pick to start that.
Mm-hmm.
Rebuild around Trey Lance or trade out of the pick. Those would be the smartest options that you have. But it looks like they're going to do the kind of flashy thing and go with Kyle Pitts to give Matt Ryan another weapon and then kind of, in my opinion, fizzle out from there.
So are you saying that if not that they were going to do this, but if they were thinking of the potential of getting a defensive player, you thinking that's not a good option for them?
I do think it is a good option, but I just don't think Atlanta's going to be the one to make it a good option. I think they're at a point where I think they've done this to themselves,
Mm-hmm.
where it looks like their fan base will be upset if they ended up taking anything other than Kyle Pitts, because they've talked about how great Kyle Pitts is.
Mm-hmm.
The media has been working up everybody on how fantastic this guy is and how he's a generational talent. And I mean, like, and granted, he could be a generational talent, but anywhere that he goes, I could see him having a 90 catch, 750-yard season, and that's not horrible for a rookie.
No.
And I could honestly see that happening for Kyle Pitts and people saying, "Oh, that was a bust of a pick," and then later down the line, a couple of years from now, he breaks out and he does become the George Kittle type, the Travis Kelce type, the Darren Waller type,
or the Marquise Colston type, or the Jimmy Graham type,
whatever.
These hybrid receiver tight ends that we're seeing today.
And I can 100% see that, and I get why that's nice, but I think for Atlanta specifically, that's not what you need. You do currently have Julio Jones. You do currently have Calvin Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
And there is so much running back talent that's available, young running back talent that you can get that can come in and play immediately. Like that's not going to be too big of an issue to fill. The biggest issues that you have is your entire defense is very suspect.
Right.
And you have an issue with you're starting to have an issue with your offensive line. Outside of that, I mean, you're not sold on Matt Ryan. I'm not sold on him either. I'm not sold on him in Atlanta anymore. I think that he could possibly, in the right situation, have a good kind of send off for his career.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they should again go with this softcore rebuild, go with Trey Lance with that fourth pick, and then just kind of call it a day from there. I think that would be a win for them. But if they do go in this Kyle Pitts direction, I think Kyle Pitts is the only pick that kind of really hammers home the idea that Atlanta is going to become a dysfunctional franchise for a few years to come here.
And so, and with that pick, we're going with Kyle Pitts. Is that
Yep.
what? All right. So Kyle Pitts goes number 4 off the board. Tight end from Florida.
Yep. And you've got the number 5 pick with Cincinnati here.
All right, Cincinnati, almost other side of the coin. Of struggling franchises who generally don't necessarily get it right with the draft. However, with that, thank goodness for a Joe Burrow and a brilliant draft from last year. Not too hard being the number 1 pick overall. Kind of like the Trevor Lawrence of
Yeah.
the Trevor Lawrence of last year.
Can't really lose.
Right, and then with the compounding situation of his injury, it pretty much made the pick it wrote itself.
Honestly, I feel like
and
that card should already have been written.
exactly. I mean, they could have just already penciled this guy in, at this point and just moved on to the 6th pick, because this is, if there's ever, this pick is more slam dunk to me than a Trevor Lawrence going number 1 in Jacksonville, literally. And with that being said, Penei Sewell, tackle from Oregon, got to protect your asset, got to protect your future. They're all in on Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, supposedly it was initially supposed to be out to mid-season. Reports came out of a week ago that he's ahead of schedule and he's on pace for being back in week 1. With that being said, they got to go all in on protecting this guy, because granted, there is a Jamar Chase sitting there,
and I know that that's kind of the struggle that they're having is, do they go Jamar Chase, pair up Joe Burrow with his old running mate back at LSU, and see how that's going to work, or do they go and protect him with Penei Sewell? I think that the second that he got injured, I think that again, this card should have wrote itself, and it should be Penei Sewell. But I can't see them making the mistake and going with Jamar Chase with this pick too.
Right. It would be a mistake. It wouldn't be the worst one, but in their case, in considering the context of what had just transpired, is how do you go any other direction than offensive tackle? If you don't, I mean, the blowback that comes from this, because you can have the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins. That
Joe
sounds
Mixon.
Great. Joe Mixon. Yeah, someone has to run the ball. Joe Mixon,
he is a solid running back.
I think Joe Mixon played less games than Joe Burrow last year, and Joe Burrow had a decimated injury in mid-season. So with that being said, what you tell me what's going on with Joe Mixon? I mean, why is he still there? They got rid of Giovanni Bernard. I think they got rid of the wrong guy, technically.
Well, Joe Mixon, when he isn't,
Joe Mixon is a bust. Yes, people, I'm throwing him over in the Kenny Golladay.
Oh my goodness, we're not having this conversation.
Hold on, Kenny Golladay is not a bust. I'm throwing him in this category of suspect players. I ain't see this had nothing to do with he ain't got no dog. This dude just don't have no durability, and I'm like, every time I look up, he's injured. And last year just took the cake for me. Like, they couldn't even they gave us no rhyme or reason what was going on with this guy. When is he coming back? He was projectedly to come back the entire season, every single week. He could be coming back. No, you brought up this is what I'm talking. But this is what I'm getting at. This is Cincinnati. So Cincinnati, do everybody a favor. Penei Sewell, protect your quarterback, protect your future.
Yeah.
There's going to be plenty of talented players coming in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounds. I think you can recover that, give more assets to help Joe Burrow going down the field with the other skill positions. But you definitely need to solidify your offensive line. Now, if it's not Sewell, it better be another tackle. I'm telling you, because if they go anything outside of an offensive lineman, this is status quo.
And this is what I was saying earlier. This is the difference that I think a lot of people do have in it, and I think people are undervaluing. Rashawn Slater from Northwestern.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the best tackle in this draft. But again, he went to Northwestern. Not many people saw him play last year.
Right.
But his tape, I think, it doesn't blow Penei Sewell out of the water. I think he just has a tick better, and he's a little bit more versatile. And I think Rashawn Slater is the guy who you could put literally anywhere on the line. He could be center, guard, tackle, anywhere, and he will fit and he will do wonders for you. Whereas Penei Sewell, he can play either guard or tackle. I don't think he could. He doesn't have that third aspect to him.
Right. Can we explain to to anyone who's listening what happened as to why we're doing a take two? Because I know we keep referring back to this, but
Yeah.
we haven't really explained why we're referring back.
Well, we were 10 picks in, and then all of a sudden the power went out here in the great city of Richfield, Minnesota. So I don't know what that was, and it came back on 30 minutes later. So it wasn't a freak accident or something. I guess somebody flipped a switch over at XL Energy.
Yeah,
So
somebody hit the wrong. I'm just gonna turn the lights off here, and oh no, you turned the whole grid off. So
everybody was down.
Yeah,
yeah.
Honestly,
it was funny. I just checked out the power outage map. There was over 150 in literally the 10 minutes that it went out. There's over 150 reports immediately.
Because someone did something at the plant, kicked over a wire, tripped something, and didn't realize the wire came out. It took 30 minutes to realize what is going on over here.
And we were in a groove. We were in a deep conversation.
Yes. So excuse us if we felt like we just kind of when we came out the gate. It's resetting, redo. Yeah, it's picking up now. The first 4 picks, I apologize personally. It's very difficult to have to redo this.
Yeah.
And we don't want to sit here and say the exact same thing we just said to each other over again.
I think we'd have done a good job of showing.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I think Penei Sewell should 100% be the number 5 pick, and that's just because I guess the his name and notoriety as the number 1 tackle prospect. But I do think Rashawn Slater has just a little bit more to him, and I think that would be the only other person that I would say you would take.
Yes.
I just don't. I think the consensus is that Penei Sewell is the number 1 tackle. Rashawn Slater is just my number 1 tackle on the board. So that's as simple as that. And let's move on to pick 6. Miami is on the clock now. They are in a weird spot. I can't even really think of Miami's weapons. When I think of Miami, I literally think of their defense and I think of Tua. Like right. That's it. I don't know who their running backs are. I don't know how good their offensive line is, and I really don't know who their wideouts are as it stands right now. But they do need to kind of bolster that and give Tua a deep threat, and I think they should go and get the number 1 wide receiver in the draft, in my opinion, and that's going to be Jamar Chase. And yes, he was paired up with Joe Burrow in college, but I do think that Tua can still get the ball down the field. I think that they are going all in on trying to make sure Tua does pan out as well as he could. It looks like he's now the 3rd best quarterback in that draft, and we don't really know, and the Dolphins don't really know what they have in Tua right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to give him a weapon. It seems like he's pretty well protected already for the most part. I mean, obviously, you could always get a better offensive line there. There's always upgrades that you can make there. But I think that value here would be Jamar Chase at number 6 coming off the board here to really see what you have in Tua. If they can hook up, if they can really kind of bust out of their shell here with Jamar Chase and Tua, that would be kind of the best way that they go about it. Now, again, I think that they're just going with an offensive weapon. They could go with Devontae Smith if they really wanted to pair him back up and actually do that teammate thing that we were talking about with Joe Burrow. They could do that with Tua here and go with Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle here. But I do think that they're going to get the best prospect, and I think that would be Jamar Chase.
Got it. Okay, this is some of the players on their team. Some of these people I didn't even know. Remember, they got starting to just since we're talking about receivers, I'm gonna start there. Will Fuller, the 5th.
Oh, yes,
he's back.
He went over there. Forgot about that.
Mr. PEDs himself. I had to come off of him. I know I was talking really big stuff about him, but they're really taking in account what had happened because that was really big about he didn't get injured this year. Even it was up until he got suspended. Okay, why didn't he get injured? For the very reason why he got suspended. These PEDs. So he's damaged goods. I've come to understand it looks good on paper, but now that they're gonna be, this is why you should have watched the program. Because it was a steroids issue in there,
Gotcha.
And when the guy had him off steroids, he sucked. So what he ended up doing? Going back on steroids and playing again, and he played just fine. Anyway, William Fuller, Robert Foster, 4-year guy from Alabama.
Is Mike Gesicki still over there? The tight end?
Yes. Gesicki is still there as a tight end. Still got Myles Gaskin as running back. Remember Jakeem Grant
Okay.
I forgot all about him, but yeah, because then they got Mac Hollins is another wide receiver, fifth year from North
Yeah,
Carolina.
I think Jamar Chase will really help out.
Hold on, still got one more guy, and then they picked up. Remember they picked up Fuller, but they also picked up Allen Hurns.
Yeah, I think Jamar Chase will still really help.
Hey, hold on, from Miami, Florida, and let me see if I got somebody else for you. And then Jamar Chase. No, hold on. Then Kyle Loxley,
Again, Jamar
rookie
Chase
from Texas,
will really help out.
El Paso, the guy that's gonna break out this year.
So it will be Miles. It will be Mike Gesicki. It will be Mike Gesicki. Why can't I say his name?
I got another guy, Kurt Merritt. I'm giving you just the depth. I'm not saying that these guys are.
Yeah, that sucks.
You asked the question. I can't remember who's on the roster. Just not to dispute the pick. I'm just Jamar Chase with these guys is all I'm trying to say. You just like, yeah, Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase. It's going to be Mike Gesicki, Jamar Chase, and Will Fuller.
And Devontae Parker is still there. So
Devontae Parker is still there?
He's still there.
Oh, my God.
He's still on the contract. That's what I was trying to get to. And Malcolm Perry, who is a wide receiver running back, but I think he's running back first.
All right.
From Navy. I don't special teams player, obviously, Oh, let's see what else I'm gonna do. I just want to do his due diligence here and make sure I said everybody.
Well, half of those guys are going to be on the roster once we get to the seasons anyway.
Oh yeah,
they're going to get cut.
They got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And Preston Williams is the other wide. Oh, and Albert Wilson. Oh my God, they got so many wide receivers.
Yeah, because they needed it. They don't have it. They have no solid name there except for Will Fuller, who is a number 3.
Devontae Parker. What are you talking about? He's the number 1.
Sorry, Devontae Parker does not do it for me. I think he's done.
He's done more with nothing.
True.
And he had no quarterbacks, and his numbers are solid, considering he's not Will Fuller. Can't hold a candle to this guy. I'm sorry, Will Fuller is.
Well, I said Will Fuller's the number 3. Jamar Chase is going to be the number 1 over there, and Mike Gesicki will be the number 1 option because I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything down the field.
Your number 1, your rookie, and your number 2, your second-year quarterback will be your 2 leading guys.
Yeah.
Against someone else. Devontae Parker, start asking for a trade. I just trade me out of here. If they want to trade out the pick, which they won't. No. But I'll be like, yeah, move me. I don't need to be here.
I think Miami has done masterfully to end up with the 6th pick. Mm-hmm. They trade out of the 3rd pick with San Francisco to trade down to 12, and then they trade back into the top 10 to the number 6 pick with Philadelphia, and they ended up with a net 3 extra picks in the long run with this. So I'm like, gee, like they completely finessed this entire league with the way that they did that,
and to get this guy, that's
ending up with Jamar Chase will be a home run of all home runs.
And that's why I named off all those players. They need a wide receiver. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that they need it badly, but they do need another weapon, and that's.
But I think the reason why, and I would say they do need a wide receiver badly because you do need to figure out what you have with Tua immediately. You need to know that this year if he's your franchise quarterback or not.
Well, true, and I think they already started the process. I know you didn't like the options, but when you bring in Fuller and Allen Hurns, those 2 were already there. Then you bring Chase,
but you have
those
Chase,
3 guys is what they're bringing to. Actually.
That I will feel a little bit better about their situation. I do. Allen Hurns, he to me is just he's never done it for me. Will Fuller, if he can, without the PEDs and without getting injured, if he can stay healthy.
Hold on, go back to Allen Hurns though. Why didn't he do it for you? It's a it's a reason why I'm saying that. Why didn't
in Jacksonville? I know it was.
You just answered my question.
Listen to me. You're in Jacksonville. That's the
answer.
It's already bad. I get that.
Jacksonville.
But Laviska Shenault is a rookie who came in and looked pretty good with the dysfunction, with everything going on there. Allen Hurns has been there for 3 years before that, and you weren't able to show me anything to make me feel good about you specifically. You're not able to get open on your own. You're not able to fight for extra yards. You're constantly hurt. You've been hurt more often than not. And so that's what I have an issue with, is that you're not able to create separation from just watching his film alone. When you're watching Laviska Shenault come in as a rookie and he has a rookie tape that's better than your entire career with the Jacksonville Jaguars, sorry,
I'm
done with you.
Couple things. He plays in Jacksonville, Who was
Laviska
Jackson?
Shenault does too.
Okay, we're gonna get to Mr. Rookie guy that just showed up last year in a COVID season. Yeah, okay, that doesn't tell me anything. It's an asterisk from. And granted, he had a decent year. He was the only one who had a decent year on a horrible offensive team. And what was it? What has been Allen Hurns' options playing in Jacksonville as who throwing him? I don't even remember who the hell was the damn quarterback
Gardner Minshew
before him.
Shoot.
See, I don't have no memory before Gardner Minshew. Who the hell did he replace?
Who did?
And don't say Nick Foles. Before all of that, before that even.
One?
Thank you. That's my point.
There's somebody else.
I know it.
I'm
sitting there spacing, but the person wasn't even that notable anyway.
Yeah.
They just had.
Was it Mike Glennon?
Maybe.
Did he go down there?
Maybe and I think he might even split time that year. I'll look it up in a minute. But what I'm trying to get at is their quarterback play has been so bad over there. Yeah, you had Allen Hurns who was starting to digress a bit in his production, but then you had DJ Chark that was stepping it up. Then DJ Chark went to the exact same thing last year, and then Shenault was the one. All I'm saying is by next year, Chenault's going to but there's a Trevor Lawrence issue now, but which could change the fortunes. But it's just a rotation of the same thing.
But
happening.
It's not even just that, because even when they were on that run, Allen Hurns was there when they were on that run, and they almost beat Pittsburgh to go to the. They ended up beating Pittsburgh. Like they almost beat New England.
And asked him to be the number 2 guy or the number 1 guy. He could be the number 4 guy here. And I'm like, you got to look at it from a depth. I know. I'm just looking at it from a bigger picture. Like, we put it all together. Allen Hurns is not no little slouch when, if he's the number 2, he has to be the Y or the X guy. I feel you. Even if you're saying the slot guy, okay. I mean, somebody had to move up when Allen Robinson left. But with that being said, he didn't really push the envelope. But now you put him in Miami. I just listed off about 20 receivers, generally speaking. I don't think he's going to be bad from 4 down,
No, I'm not saying that he's never going to be able to do anything, especially when everybody's looking at Jamar Chase, Gesicki, and Will Fuller. Mm-hmm. He's going to be able to get his, and I get that. I'm just saying he's
going to show some respect to Devontae Parker. I don't like how you did not even mention him.
I'm sorry. Their wide receiver room does not do it for me, and that's why they need Jamar Chase.
All right.
You're at number 7. You got the Detroit Lions on the clock.
Okay, so we got imploding franchise number 3 here, which is the Detroit Lions. Anybody knows or listen to our previous episodes, I'm not very high on this franchise at all. I mean, they're like the walking man of the league for me, you know, and any chance I could talk about them and poke fun, I will. Because they're Detroit, and we're Bears fans, and it's a division rival, and somebody has to be the new Tampa Bay Buccaneers of the division. That's an old plug.
Not
for any
Tampa
of you
Bay
young listeners who talking about who the Tom Brady type of stop, people. Okay, that's some new age stuff. Really, I mean, if you look at the history of the Bucs. But with that being said, go ahead. No.
I was going to go off on a different route. It has nothing. We'll get to Tampa Bay when we get down to pick 32.
Exactly. We'll just say that for that at the end. And that's what I'm saying. We're talking about the your father's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dreamsicle. Tampa Bay Bucs.
Oh, that's it. That I will say, they need to go back to that actual logo, the pirate with the knife in the mouth.
Oh,
that is a fantastic logo. They need to go back to that. This whole flag with the pirates cross. Miss me with that one when they keep doing those throwback uniforms with that on the helmet. That one is fantastic. I love that.
It's funny how it's a throwback now. I mean, that's just what it was when I was growing up.
It's
just no. It's interesting. It's just as time goes on, I'm like, that's a throwback. How about they just had a uniform change?
Yeah.
Like a throw. I mean, I guess
technically it's not their uniform anymore. It's a throwback to whenever they were wearing. What was that, the 80s?
I think even the early 90s, they still had it. Yeah, they changed mid 90s.
Yeah, those are so nice. I like those.
I liked it, but I think the dreamsicle thing color became more nostalgic by the early 2000s. Just when we had a little separation from it, was like, oh, I can actually, because I think fashion started to come into play, and all of a sudden, it was just kind of like, man, it's kind of nostalgic now. But they were looked as soft back then. I mean, but we're talking about the '80s, the '90s. Our society has changed,
Yeah.
and it's color schemes and stuff. It's ridiculous. Because when they're out there playing on them now, they're out there busting heads just like anybody else, dreamsicle colors or not.
And it's not
I
even the
think
color scheme to me. It's
it's
the
a
logo itself is
and that's what I'm
nice.
saying. The logo, yeah, but I was saying the whole color scheme. That was the whole thing. It's a Floridian color, people.
True.
Which again now is more fashionable. Which is now I'm like, why don't y'all just go back to that now?
Yeah.
I like y'all uniforms. I think these should be y'all alternative uniforms. And
Back
neither
to
here
Tampa
nor
Bay.
there.
No, sorry, back
Neither here
to
nor there. I know
Detroit.
we are all about Tampa Bay's uniforms. Okay, so then we got Detroit here. Obviously needs everything. As what you're sharing that they had 6 notable needs.
Yeah, so on PFF, this is what you're mentioning. On PFF, where I am tracking our picks here, they actually have Detroit's needs as wide receiver, defensive line, edge, linebacker, cornerback, and safety. They need literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
and I think even going down the list, they do still have a question at quarterback. They clearly still have questions on offensive line. And who's their running back? I guess they've got their running backs off. DeAndre Swift is their guy.
That's his name? Is it
think so.
DeAndre Swift? I don't.
Swift. I know his last name is Swift.
It's something with a D.
Yeah.
I apologize. This is what happens when you do all of this research and all these names, and all of a sudden I can't even remember who the hell was on the damn roster last year.
True.
Like Swift, I do remember that. Yeah. So they do have Swift. So, but yeah, as you just stated, not that they would do this. Even if they went and drafted a running back, I couldn't even be mad at them. Like you needed that too. You needed.
I'm sorry, you drafted a running back. That is a huge miss.
No. It's a miss in the aspect of they need other needs. My point being is it does not negate the fact they need another running back because Swift is fine, but
they need
that's all I need. Yeah, they need a number 2 guy. And do they need it more than they need everything else? Probably not.
Absolutely,
or probably just as much. It's just it's Detroit people. So look, their number 1 need. Let's be real. It's a wide receiver. If it's not a wide receiver, the other number 1 need is a defensive player.
Any defensive player.
Pick any defensive player.
Which
any
I
position.
Think, and this is what I was saying to you because I do know this is not your pick, but I do think if they do go with the best defensive player on the board here, I do think that would be a home run pick for them here.
Who is that?
To me, it's Micah Parsons. A lot of people might say it's Christian Barrymore or Patrick Surtain, but I think it's Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is far and away my favorite defensive prospect in this draft.
I think them addressing linebacker would be a much greater need than addressing a cornerback first.
Yeah,
not that they don't need to address either one of them.
And the reason why I do also feel that way is because they did just get a cornerback last year to replace Darius Slay. So they do kind of have cornerback not figured out, but they do have that solidified more than they do their linebacker situation.
Right. But with all of that being said, it won't be any edge rushers. It won't be any linebackers. It won't definitely be any cornerbacks. It won't be anything that has to do on the defensive side of the ball because that just does not make any sense for Detroit to do that. And I think for Detroit, I think they would need like 2 first-round picks to even justify going defense in the first round. Other than that, they're not going to do that. So without further ado, Devonta Smith, Alabama, wide receiver. Hands down, they need someone to definitely replace this quiet as kept departure of Kenny Golladay, which was kind of like, okay. And I never really talked about this. It was kind of weird in the sense of even when we were doing the free agency show, like why why are they not trying to bring this guy back?
I think they tried to, but I think Kenny Golladay woke up and realized, well, I tried getting a contract in the middle of the season with you guys. I tried to give you the due diligence to figure it out then, and you guys lowballed me. And now I want to get my money, and you guys are still trying to give me the same contract. Kick rocks.
Is that what they were doing?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
So I think he was just like, well, you've already lost the other 2. You're still not going to try to invest into me. I'm going to try to find my money elsewhere. I'm going to see what the market actually gives me. And he found what he wanted in New York. It's really sad that Chicago wasn't able to get him because they were in the running for him. I was really upset also that Baltimore didn't get him. because I would love to see what Baltimore can do with an actual number one wide receiver threat. But he ends up going to New York, which that one is what confused me. But I think they just gave him the most money
Most
up
money.
front.
Yep.
So Devontae Smith is a great option here, I guess. This will actually, I think this is smart for them as well at number 2, in my opinion, to what they should do,
Mm-hmm.
because you need to figure out what you have in Jared Goff. You've
Exactly.
already you've taken on his contract. You let go of Matthew Stafford, who I think is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He's been top 10 for the last 10 years
Yeah,
in
I
the league.
think they're trying to buy themselves another 5 years at the position, potentially,
Yeah.
but this could blow up in their face in the next year or two.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
they
you've got 2
understand their
years to
risk.
figure it out with
Right.
Jared Goff. So I think this is the smartest thing to do. You lost all your wide receivers. You don't have Kenny Galladay anymore. Let's go get him
No
a number
Marvin
one option.
Jones. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go get him a number one option. Devontae Smith is the best on the board there, or one of the best on the board. I think it's kind of 1A, 1B with
Until him
Jalen
and
Waddle.
Waddle. Exactly. And I was toiling over that. I went with the bigger receiver. I just think you're trying to get as close to replacing Galladay as you possibly can.
Yeah.
So that and that alone, you could take either one really at this point. I would
100%.
not. I would not be if they took Jalen Waddle. I would not be down on it.
Now, keep in mind, this is all in the aspect of Atlanta's taking Kyle Pitts. If Atlanta wakes up and actually does the right thing and takes a quarterback, you could either have Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase available here with Detroit. So, with that being said,
let me ask this. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let you finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying. With that being said, you could end up with the best, either with the best offensive threat option that is the, I guess, consensus best offensive threat in Kyle Pitts, or the best wide receiver option. To me, who is the best offensive threat in my opinion? I think I put Jamar Chase a little bit over Kyle Pitts just because I think Jamar Chase is that good, but Jamar Chase didn't play last season, so I understand why people have Kyle Pitts above him. But with that being said, you could end up with either the one or two best offensive threat options.
True.
With if Atlanta decides to go quarterback instead of going with Kyle Pitts,
and that's what just to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. This is why I'm asking this question.
Yeah.
Let's say in the event that Atlanta they go quarterback, where does Kyle Pitt go at this point?
I would say Kyle Pitts should go 6.
Do you think Miami will?
I think Miami should take him, but if not, I think that he would definitely go with Detroit.
Oh, I definitely. I guess I was saying
he's
like,
not falling
does
past
he
7.
actually? Because I'm thinking that's what I was thinking. Like, does Cincinnati and Miami pass up on Kyle Pitts if he's not
I do
sitting
think
there?
Cincinnati does. I think Cincinnati, you need to realize you need offensive linemen.
I get that. I just don't know if him falling would change their mind. Because again, Atlanta, Cincinnati, and Detroit, I don't trust these franchises in the draft.
Well, with Cincinnati specifically, the reason why I think Kyle Pitts is not even an option for them is because if they are going to go with an offensive weapon, it's too idiotic not to go with Jamar Chase and repair up Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase.
Gotcha.
You can't pass that up. And they broke records together in the NCAA. You have to put them back together.
You gotta like how the PR works.
Yeah.
These guys ain't even making their own picks. They just the circumstance and the scenario makes our picks for us. Just absurd.
Yeah.
Moving on.
At 8, I think that now there is talk with Carolina. They possibly are going to go quarterback. Justin Fields is available as it stands for us right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be an option for them. But I think that would be a dumb move for them. And I think Carolina's kind of putting up this smokescreen saying that they're still in the market for a quarterback, just so that people are going to try to trade up they're realizing that, hey, you do have to still trade through us to get your guy if you want to. And I think that's what they're trying to play at right now instead of actually being in the market for a quarterback. Because I think after you give up 3 picks for Sam Darnold, you have to figure out and you have to make Sam Darnold work over these next 2 years. Now, I do know they still, if I'm correct here, I'm pretty sure they still haven't yet picked up Sam Darnold's 5th-year option just yet. But they still have a ton of time to get that done. So with that being said, I think that that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to pick up the 5th-year option, and they're going to go and give Sam Darnold another weapon to make sure that he works out as much as possible. And I think it's going to be whoever's left over from the top 3 wide receivers on the board. And I think that will be Jalen Waddle will be available, and they go with him. And just giving him another option, it's going to be Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore. What's the other guy's name? There's one more over there. Christian McCaffrey, obviously, but another wide receiver.
Oh, jeez. Because Samuel left.
Yeah.
Gosh, who was the other guy?
Robbie Anderson.
Yeah.
Those are the three, and so they will have that'll be a very solid wide receiving core for them right there, especially with having Christian McCaffrey taking a little bit of pressure off of him by actually having the weapons around the field as much as possible.
What has been the talk about their team as far as looking at defensive players? Like, what I haven't heard much about them because it's just all been about the quarterback over there.
Since Luke Kuechly left, I was assuming that their linebacking situation would be worse, but to me, it's not as dire as a lot of other positions. They need offensive threat weapons, and then I think the defensive backs is what they also need, corner. But outside, I think at the 8th pick, it's still too high. So I do think probably the most likely thing that's going to happen tomorrow with them is that they're going to end up trading down with, let's say, a New England or somebody like that.
Right.
But
if they have to make the pick,
I think that they're going with an offensive threat weapon.
Now, okay, I just want to. I know I'm not going to speculate too much. I just for the sake of the this conversation.
Yeah.
Let's say they trade out of the pick with New England.
Mm-hmm.
So they trade down to 15. Man, like what do you? I know we're jumping down the board, but it's like, well, what are they addressing at 15?
Well, there's some corners that are going to be available there.
So that's my question. Like, so they go in defense if that's
I would hope that's what they're doing, because if you're trying to get an offensive weapon, Jalen Waddle's the best one left, and you're going to have him available at 8. There's no reason to trade out of the pick if you're going offense. That's the decision you need to make. Otherwise, if you are going to trade down, you need to address your defense. And I think that's the situation that they're in. And I think that they're trying to figure out if they can get more value out of just going with Jalen Waddle, or if they can get more in return with a pick at 15 plus whatever other picks will come along with it.
Pass up on Surtain and acquire another pick or two.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess.
Because, you also have J.C. Horn available. Greg Newsom's going to be available.
Right.
Corner Caleb Farley is also a really high prospect there. Like, Asante Samuel. Like, there's a lot of good guys.
Asante Samuel Jr.
Yeah, sorry. Let me.
But not to be confused with his father.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are down. So Jalen Waddle is picked at number 8 from Carolina. We're moving on to Denver is on the clock at number 9.
Ooh.
I think this is an easy pick.
Man, Denver, another one of those teams that got some very specific needs. This is where a Rashad Slater could come into the picture.
Yeah,
but he won't. This is also where there is the Micah Parsons aspect that they can actually to continue bolstering. I could see Michael Parsons a little bit more than I would see an offensive lineman, even though I would think an offensive lineman would be more valuable and a much more value pick to them, considering their suspect quarterback play with this Drew Lock. And I'm building up to the quarterback last based on the fact of the stories that's came out. That there's this. Some stories about they're good. They're very comfortable with Drew Lock. The other ones where they're looking to maybe replace him, and then there's another report we're looking to try to protect him. And it just, what in the is Drew Lock? Like, why are you this even being considered?
Yeah.
Let me be clear. And I said all that to say this. I'm done talking about that because that's BS. It's just a bunch. It's the crappiest smokescreen stories out there. Look, at this juncture, if the draft, the way we're looking at it and the way I clearly believe this is how it's going to more likely play out, with these quarterbacks still sitting out there, they're going quarterback. With that, I'm not to build it up any further. This is where Justin Fields gets his due.
100%.
And I was all last night. I'm looking and and the day before, I'm like, once I finally establish 49ers, I don't just for whatever reason are not going to get him. And at this point, because of the needs of everybody else, have perfect spot. outside of someone trying to trade them out of it. And it has to be a hell of a deal because I'm like, when I last looked at their roster, hell, if they don't need a quarterback, I don't know who do. Drew Lock missed me with that. Drew
Yeah.
Lock is a bust. I'm sorry. He's okay at best. He's average. And I'm like, we seen Denver last year. Their offense looked horrible considering the weapons that they had on there because their quarterback play and offensive line, which, like
Yeah.
I said, they can go. What seems to be the consensus pick here, like if you got a tackle, you probably need to tackle just as much as you need a quarterback, But with these quarterbacks sitting here, you do the math.
Yeah.
Do you want the second best or maybe arguably the best tackle, or do you want arguably the best quarterback that's in the draft? And I think that's going to belong to Justin Fields, and I think Justin Fields, hands down, is going to the Broncos.
I agree, and I think that there's no way Justin Fields falls out of the top 10. I think that's something that's been speculated a little bit. How Justin Fields has gone from the second best prospect before the last year's NCAA season, and now he's slid all the way down to the fifth prospect. To me, that there's no way. Yeah, I still believe he's the second best prospect at quarterback in this draft, and I think Denver, this is a home run pick for them if this is how it plays out. Because I mean, even if um, San Francisco shocks us all and actually ends up going with Justin Fields, I still think Denver will take Trey Lance at this pick.
If he's, and that's what I'm saying. If this, I believe it's one of the two.
There's going to be two quarterbacks available,
right?
For them.
Now, if there's a Mac Jones and whoever,
if it's Mac Jones and Trey Lance,
I don't think Mac Jones would get picked by Denver at all,
no.
Even if he's available. He would have to be he's the last one, and someone else for whatever reason came up and grabbed somebody.
Yeah,
and that's the only scenario I can see them getting to Mac Jones if he's the last one standing at 9.
Yeah, and to me, he is the fifth option in this draft at this, and so like I don't see anybody else. If Mac Jones falls to New England will take him. If Mac Jones if New England jumps up and they go get Justin Fields and it's Trey Lance sitting there and Denver has him, like I don't know who is going to want Mac Jones. I mean, maybe it's going to be Minnesota takes him just to be safe with Kirk Cousins, or maybe Mac Jones falls all the way down and ends up getting picked up by Washington. I mean, there's going to be a lot of options there, but I do think that it's going to be Mac Jones taken by San Francisco, and there's no way Justin Fields falls past Denver at this point, especially knowing that he's going to be the best option. It's the second best option in the draft. His talent will blow them out of the water, and it's going to actually propel them to a really nice duo with Justin Fields and Jerry Jeudy. I would love to see in that. And then they also have
I like that.
Cortland Sutton is there as well, and he's going to be coming back from his injury, and it's going to look real nice for them.
And then you got your Melvin Gordon, and team doesn't look. Justin Fields really gives that offense an upgrade in the facelift that's much needed, and you can. And Drew Lock, I don't have a problem with you being a backup. It's just as a starter, I'm so sorry. You've been a miss, unfortunately. And I'm not saying it's all his fault, but it just did not seem to work out in this rotation. I think he'll be best suited to backing up and helping getting Justin as far, as game ready as he possibly can from his standpoint of being the former starter, you know. And that's basically his bag boy,
holding that clipboard over there,
hold you bring me him, carry my helmet for me or something. I know I'm just Drew Lock. No, I'm sorry.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's get to the double digits now. We got at pick 10. Dallas is on the clock now. Now Dallas is said to be out of the trading up to try to go get Kyle Pitts talk. So with that being said, tight end is not their need, and I don't think it was their need in the first place. They've got weapons, and whoever else is out there.
I think it's wrong. I think that the way that they're listing it is wrong. Like I don't think that's the number one priority. It could be a priority. I just don't think that's their number one need.
But I think a lot of people were talking about how enamored Jerry Jones was with Kyle Pitts and what he can bring, especially with now that you have
based on that, on that alone.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. This is what I'm saying. This is Jerry Jones.
Yeah. and so with all of that, and I think it would make sense in a way for them to go with that because you want to give another weapon to the guy that you just signed for how long 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's the case, cool, whatever. But I don't think that solves the issue that Dallas had. I think Dallas is still going to be in the same position that they were in
Mm-hmm.
going into last season, where your defense sucks and you can't get anything figured out. And really, my biggest issue with Dallas's defense is their cornerback play. I think their corners suck, and defensive backs as a whole, they just keep getting gashed over the top. They everybody was throwing for 400, 450, 500 yards on them game in, game out, and they weren't able to stop a nosebleed.
Was this a slam dunk pick we coming up on?
I think there is no way they pass up on Patrick Surtain. I think that they take him and they start to
Absolutely.
fix their defensive back situation as much as they possibly can because they've lost a lot of guys. And is Byron Jones still there even, or did he leave?
That is a good question. I have no idea. But give me
I do
give me
believe
a
he
few
left,
seconds and I'll pull it up.
but even if he is there, I think Patrick Surtain is still a huge upgrade. And he's to me the second best defensive prospect in this draft. So that's a home run pick for them. They don't. I know that a lot of people are kind of harping on their linebacker play because they really haven't been able to figure that situation out. But I do
Mm-hmm.
think Leighton Vander Esch is still fantastic, and Jalen Smith as well. They're still great guys. They just need to stay healthy and be on the field together, and that'll kind of solve itself. So this is the only reason why I wouldn't take Micah Parsons there, because they already do have two solid linebackers. They do need to get depth at the second level, but I do think that this is going to be the first step for them to stop getting gashed over the top and actually being able to win games. Is hey, you've already got the weapons on the offense. You've got Dak Prescott. You've got what's his name, the wide receiver over there.
Which the one they just picked up, Lamb.
No, they have CeeDee Lamb, but the other one, their number one option.
Oh, you had Lamb. What was
his name? Whatever. You
CeeDee
know who I'm
Lamb.
talking about. I don't know why
exactly
I can't think of his name right now. But
we apologize. It just this is what happened.
There's so many names we've been going through over the last 2 weeks. We've been
just
trying to
studying
spacing
on the most simplest things right here.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Whoever there,
you know
who I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Because
you have offensive weapons. You have Ezekiel Elliott. So at the end of the day, I think that they're fine on the offensive side of the ball. They just really need to fix the offensive side, the defense. No, they're number one option.
Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. Those were their two top guys.
No, they have another one.
Hold on. Okay, stop. I got it. Oh, Amari Cooper.
That's what I'm talking about. Michael Gallup. Get out of here.
Michael Gallup was the number one until
No.
Cooper got over there.
Yeah. Oh Jesus. Yeah. Sorry. That I could not remember his name to save my life for some reason.
I don't know who was the number two technically at this
CeeDee
point.
Lamb.
Is he?
To me, he's the number two of that offense. But
think he's the
that's neither here nor there. I think that they go with defensive back. They just begin to figure out their situation with that side, and this will actually help them, I think, win games this season, where you were getting in these really close matchups, these shootouts that you were having when Dak Prescott was healthy still, and you were just getting beat by 1-2 possessions at the end of the game because the defense couldn't stop them, and now you actually will be able to stop them from getting deep on you as much as possible.
And who were you saying was still asking me what defensive player was still?
Byron Jones.
No, he's gone.
He's gone. Okay. Yeah, so you definitely need to address that situation then. You need somebody to match up with their number one, and I think Patrick Surtain can do that.
Got it.
So 11, you've got the New York Giants on the clock here.
Okay, this is where it gets a little interesting.
Yes, it does.
And I mean, New York doesn't need everything. You know, they definitely need offensive line help, and they can use an edge rusher and all that good stuff. Yep. Considering what they addressed in the free agency, I don't think they're gonna go offensive lineman.
Oh, really?
I it seems that way. I just don't think that's what they're gonna do.
Okay.
I think they're gonna go defense. I think they need to address their defense. You know, not that they're not gonna address it at all. I just think they're gonna address it in the first round. So call this the first woohoo pick, you know, or whatever. but I'm going with Quiddy Payne.
Oh, okay.
Quiddy Pay, yeah. So I that the linebacker slash defensive end from Michigan.
Okay.
That's who I'm seeing the versatility of just trying to bolster up their defense because we said it for some of these other teams like the Atlantas and the Detroits. I think the Giants had already addressed some of these bells and whistles, when they got the Galladay pick, and then they was able to re-sign. What was his name? Was it Leonard Floyd? Or
No, no, no.
what am I saying his name? I'm saying the wrong name.
Yeah, Leonard Floyd's out in with the Rams.
Got him. Yeah, I'm getting these guys mixed up. You know what I'm talking. The offensive lineman that they re-signed. Hold on, Leonard Williams.
Leonard Williams, yes.
Got the wrong last name.
Yeah.
Leonard Williams, and I think the Giants did damn well in the offseason and in this free agency period,
Yeah.
which setting them up for the draft, which was why I think they can get away with a Quiddy Pay,
Now
pick.
let me ask you this about Quiddy Pay. You have Quiddy Pay ranked over Jason Owe and Jalen Phillips as edge rushers, just specifically edge rushers. Or what makes you pick Quiddy Pay over those two?
It's versatility.
Okay.
More so than anything. I wasn't saying that he's the best. It just what seems to fit. Now maybe I'm doing this more what I think they should do, but it's kind of getting to that point where okay, I don't think these are consensus slam dunk picks now. I don't think this is what they're gonna do, but I don't think they'll do this.
Yeah.
No, I think this is what they should do. It's kind of maybe
over
just
taking Micah Parsons. Because I know linebacker isn't their number one position, but I mean, still, that again, this is a generational talent to me.
But again, needed an edge rusher,
Sure.
and that I think it was more based on the need.
Okay.
Remember I told you if they take him, whoever takes Michael Parsons, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's just
he's gonna fit wherever
they
he
went a
goes.
different direction. I got it. And that's why he's sitting here on the board, and I'm just like, no, I can see him still falling. I can see Parsons almost falling toward, in the late teens almost,
Well, I don't because
I
Philadelphia's
can
on the
see
clock.
him going there.
Philadelphia's on the clock, and Micah Parsons still sitting on the board. That's one of their biggest needs, and 100%. There's no way if Micah Parsons is there, they have to take him. I don't think that they can't get away. I don't think they're going quarterback. I've told you this. I think that they're all in with Jalen Hurts, and I think that that's just they need to figure out how to make that work. Wide receiver wise, if you're not going with the top three, I don't think you're going to go and reach for Rashad Bateman or whoever else is available later in this, Elijah Moore type guys. And so you've got a talent like Micah Parsons sitting there, and he's technically sliding at this point because he to me should be a top 10, but I don't think anybody in the top 9 is going to go with a defensive player in this draft this year, which is crazy to say because I don't know any other draft that has a defensive guy not going in the top 9. So I don't know if you can think of one off the top of your head that you've seen a defense slide like this.
No, not
like this.
No.
So
no,
I think
this is just that kind of draft where for whatever reason these defensive players are legit, yet the needs are these skill positions or these offensive tackles, and that's where the highest necessity has been just for this particular draft.
Yeah,
which is kind of weird. In a sense, you would think somewhere in there. You didn't tell me that you can't get one defensive player in the first 9 picks, not one. When clearly 2 or 3 could easily be sitting in there. You know,
but I mean,
Quiddy Pay at the end of it. Edge rusher from Michigan. I just think I think it's a good fit for New York. Now, if they go a different direction, would not be surprised.
I could see them going with Micah Parsons before Philadelphia is able to grab him. Or if, to me, my favorite edge rusher is the one out of Miami, Jalen Phillips.
Okay,
I like him. I think he's super versatile as well. But I don't hate Quiddy Pay at all. I think he definitely will give you a lot of talent. Quiddy Pay is one of those guys that I think in this draft tomorrow, when we were actually sitting down and watching it, I see Quiddy Pay getting picked up somewhere around in the 20s range and going to one of these really good teams. And he's going to be.
Think he's going to fall that far?
I think he might.
That's ridiculous.
I don't think he should. I understand. I think that's what might happen.
The number one edge rusher out there, and yet The defenses are getting no play in this the beginning of the draft, and this, which is I think is an issue with the NFL in itself. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to get our guy. What does getting your guy translate into wins or success of the possibility of competing for championships? Because like, when has that stopped becoming the
It does in the 20s. It doesn't when you're up in the top half of the first round, because even if you do go get your guy, you're still not going to make the playoffs. So, but to me, once you're a team like Baltimore, once you're a team like Kansas City, once you're a team like Tampa Bay,
this is why these
whoever
teams
you
stay
get,
where they are.
exactly, whatever these teams. I mean, even though I'm not really sold on teams like Pittsburgh or something like that, or 100% sold on Tennessee right now, I still see them. They're going to get a really great talent in these 20s picks, because these guys on the defensive side at least are going to slide pretty far.
Right.
But what do you think about Micah Parsons going to Philadelphia at 12 here?
I like it. I think it's the solid fit. It's not that Philadelphia needs to address, issues on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I know they asking for quarterbacks, wide receivers. I mean, we've been down this road with them so many times. And I guess my thing is this with franchises: when there's more misses than hits on the offensive side of the ball, I'm sure there's been some massive neglect to your defense. And with that being said, just go with the smart, safe pick.
Yeah.
And go and bolster your defense, because especially because you're running this. We've got Jalen Hurts. We're gonna see what we got. We're gonna go in this new direction. Okay, you can sit there and we talk about, well, we're gonna get an offensive lineman to try to protect them and so on, and that's all makes sense. But
I can see them going
what
with
needs
Sean
to be
Slater there.
what needs to undergird that even more so, and I'm thinking based on Jalen Hurts' skill set I think their defense is what's in need more so than their offensive players.
Yeah.
So I think that's an excellent pick if that's your pick.
No, that's going to be I don't see them passing up on Micah Parsons.
Now, if they do pass up on him, this is what I meant by I could see him in the later teens, like, because I don't see the next few picks of somebody grabbing a linebacker. But with Philadelphia, I think they're a wild card pick technically. I know you putting Micah Parsons in there, kind of something like the Giants one. Giants might take him. I don't know, but I don't think they will. Yeah.
I think even Dallas could end up taking him, but I do think that
right.
I just think that Dallas knows what they need, and they've got the second best prospect, which is their number one need.
Which is what I'm saying. We can go even back as far as Denver.
True. Yeah.
That's what what I'm saying. Michael Parsons should be going as high as 4, technically.
Atlanta should take him.
Realistic, going back full circle when we were talking about Atlanta. That's where he's supposed to be getting drafted. No, we're gonna go with Kyle Pitts. This is why y'all Atlanta.
Exactly.
Because ridiculous. So moving on. So I mean, I'm not in dispute with Philadelphia, because at this point, Micah Parsons falls to.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think he's actually technically
him.
falling at this point, because he should be in the top 10.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, I don't see. I can see just Philadelphia. Oh no, let's go get a quarterback. I mean, no, let's go get a wide receiver. Like, really?
But the reason why I don't see them doing a wide receiver is because you'd have to do a huge overreach to
at
go
this
get
point.
Rashad Bateman.
Right, at this point, it's like you got too many other needs and players
and I don't see them trading down again, because that'll just create an uproar, because the fans are already pissed that they traded down once with Miami, because they thought they were getting Jamar Chase, they thought they were getting Devontae Smith, or even Kyle Pitts if he falls to them at 6. So
if there was at 6, let's just speculate. If there was at 6, there was no chance of them getting a quarterback.
I don't think that they would have went quarterback. The way that the organization is talking, they are 100% in on. And I know this is misinformation season. I get that, but this is even before kind of misinformation season started. This is once they ended up trading away Carson Wentz. They were talking about how 100% in they are on Jalen Hurts, and I'm just like, I don't see it, to me anyway. I would go with a quarterback, somebody that I could take there if Justin Fields was available. I think he's a better version of Jalen Hurts. So I think that would be the best option there. But to me, Philadelphia isn't in that mindset. They're in a mindset where, hey, we've traded away Carson Wentz. We're gonna get a first round pick for him next year if they make it to the playoffs, or if he pays 75% of the snaps or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. So we're gonna get a pretty high pick from him. If even if he doesn't, we're still gonna need a number 2 for him. So that's still a really good value. But we're also looking at Jalen Hurts as our number 1 guy. We need to build around him. So let's make sure we have the best team around him that we can. And the best way of doing that at number 12 anyway, or even if they were at 6, would have been to go get, if it was at 6, it would be go get an offensive threat weapon. So either Kyle Pitts is going to be available if Atlanta goes quarterback, or Jamar Chase is going to be sitting there like Miami already took him in our mock here. So that's where I was at with them. They're kind of in the same position that Miami's in. You've got a quarterback. We got to figure out what we're going to do with them at 6 anyway. Let's give him an offensive threat weapon at 12. Let's go fix our defense to make sure that we have the best defense possible as it stands right now.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. They trading out of the offensive game, position, acquire another pick or 2.
Plus, they got Jalen Reagor last year, and I think this is kind of a flip flop from what Miami and Philadelphia were kind of looking at. Like, oh, you guys are in real need of defense. We're in real need of offense. Let's flip these picks. You give up something extra. Boom. Bada bang, bada boom. We got it all done. Like, we got to figure it out.
Hell, to get Michael Parsons just in an extra pick, I'm like,
yeah,
that damn near won the draft.
I know, and that
arguably.
I mean, and that's kind of interesting to say because a lot of people are upset with them going with probably defense here, but I think it would be the smart thing to do, and I think this would be actually a home run for them because they got a guy that fell.
Exactly. And I don't think any offensive player at this juncture right now, based on this scenario,
outside of Rashawn Slater,
I'm talking like offensive skill player.
Yeah.
Would justify this pick, you know?
Yeah, because there's no, I don't think a running back's going in the first round at all. Plus, all the wide receiver, the only tight end that's worth taking in the first round is Kyle Pitts, and the next wide receiver available again is Rashad Bateman. Which, not to knock him, I think he's a great prospect. I just don't think he's not a top 12 prospect.
Right, and it's one of those again. You know, we do the fantasy snake draft. It's just like, hey, his ADP is not quite this high, you know, and there's a lot of other value here. And if you got other needs, which all of these teams do, consensus is go that direction unless you just really want the guy you want, and that's fine. But
I don't think the guy you want is Rashad Bateman.
Right, and I think that's highly unlikely. I don't think you traded back just to get him. Yeah. Like, hell, you could have traded back even further.
And got more picks.
If that's what you really want, you know. But with that being said, we just just kind of mulling over nonsense at this point.
So I think Mike Parsons is a home run pick there for Philadelphia. And on the clock now will be the Los Angeles Chargers, and that's your pick here. God. They've got an interesting pick here.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna struggle with this pick, and then about 5 minutes into my research, I'm like, this is pretty simple. Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way they're going anywhere else but Rashawn Slater here, especially if Rashawn Slater,
if he's still there, as opposed to Penei Sewell, be it either one.
Yeah, because Penei Sewell is my number 2. Like I said, he's not. It's not like Rashawn Slater is far out above Penei Sewell to me anyway. I just think he's got a little bit more versatility to him, and I think that's huge for the Chargers getting him because you need to do whatever you can because they've already started trying to bolster that offensive line by getting a couple of guys in free agency to help protect Justin Herbert a little bit more. But getting another guy like Rashawn Slater who can really line up anywhere on the offensive line, that's going to just far and above be the best option for you. And I love that pick for the Chargers. That's a home run pick for them.
It's. I mean, if they wanted to go corner, I can see that. I just don't think that makes, considering that dude's still sitting there, that just doesn't make any sense at this point.
They went corner. You're looking at what? J.C. Horn, Caleb Farley.
J.C. Horn's solid, but I don't think he's as solid as Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, and
you definitely want to give more protection to protecting your asset in Justin Herbert because granted he had a stellar banner year. We don't want a Joe Burrow situation in year 2. So. For sure. With this guy. So, I think it's slam dunk. And at this point, Rashawn, if he's not picked first as an offensive tackle, he's obviously fallen at this point.
Yeah.
So here we go, and that's yeah. I think it's just we could just move on.
Yeah. Well, now Minnesota is on the clock, and this is actually a really tough pick for me because they've got quite a few.
Glad I didn't have 14. I was
Yeah,
looking
this
at
is a
that
hard
like,
pick.
I could just skip over this one.
Yeah, they've got, and so Christian Barrymore is the best defensive prospect, but they really aren't in need of just a solid interior defensive lineman. They're really looking for an edge rusher or to help fix their safety situation, which if they are going to go safety, Trevon Moehrig is there, but I feel like that's a little bit of an overreach. So to me, I think the easy pick here would go Jalen Phillips, and I know he's kind of further down there on the ADP, but his actual talent, to me, again, I think he's the best edge rusher in this draft out of Miami. And if you can go get a guy like that,
edge rushers are not being valued very high.
Yeah, and I think that, and I think this is kind of a smokescreen that's happening right now. I think edge rushers are going to go a little bit higher than we initially had thought, just because there are teams that need them for sure. Getting after the quarterback, I think Jalen Phillips over in Minnesota, that's going to be a huge need that they fill. I know they could go with Christian Darrisaw and go grab him at the tackle position because they do need to get offensive line help and protect. What's his name, Kirk Cousins over there, and actually open up the field a little bit more for Dalvin Cook. But man, I think you're looking at a prospect in Jalen Phillips that is just too good to pass up going this far into the draft at this point.
Absolutely agree. I mean, granted, if we wanted to address, offensive linemen, but we really want to address that in Minnesota, I think it's a need in general. I don't think it's like a dire need, which I think the edge rusher becomes more of the value pick for them in the first round. Granted, I think they're going to address all this in the draft collectively, but we're talking about for this first pick.
Round.
I can see that makes perfect sense. Those were our two reach picks anyway. So far, has been the edge rushers. So I have no problem with that pick. That's actually impressive. Because I was looking like,
because I mean, like, yes, if Rashawn
all.
Slater was there, I would take Rashawn Slater as the offensive line prospect there. But since it's Christian Darrisaw, not to say Christian Darrisaw is a bad pickup at all. It's just I would rather go get the edge rusher over him at 14 anyway.
Right.
So with the 15th pick in this draft, we've got New England on the clock now. Their top needs being quarterback, wide receiver, and corner. What are you looking at here?
Okay, so there's a lot of speculation and all this talk about what they need. Belichick this, Belichick that, yada yada yada. Garoppolo to New England. Cam Newton's been signed. I haven't heard Cam Newton's name in a month.
Yeah, no.
Like, is he even still on the roster? Like, what in the hell is going on? So, no trades have happened. They haven't traded up. Denver has has stayed where they wanted. Then Dallas has stayed where they were at. No one has been moving up. And here we are. Okay. With this being said, Trey Lance is still sitting there. Trey Lance.
Okay.
100%. I didn't even want to bring up some soliloquy trying to explain. It's obviously, if he's still sitting there, they're going to take the quarterback.
And I think that works out really well for them because, again, this is a guy that you can sit for a year, and you've got you want to still figure out what's going on with Cam Newton and whatnot. So let Cam Newton play this year and sit Trey Lance. That'd be a huge pickup for them if they do stay at 15 and he slides the way that we think he should. I think Trey Lance, or that he will, because I do think Trey Lance should go number 4 overall, but. At the end of the
day. And which is gonna make tomorrow very interesting because they only got to change one pick. That just offsets everything.
Like I said, Atlanta is where the draft really hinges on because Atlanta can really shake up how everybody else makes picks here.
Right.
And man, I just think Trey Lance. We've already talked about it, and I already explained it. I think he should go with Atlanta, but if he falls in the way that it might actually look like, I think this is a good spot for him.
And going back to 3. Let's just say for whatever reason, the 49ers say they took Trey Lance instead of Mac Jones. Mac Jones will fall all the way to this
Exactly.
15th pick.
This is
Nothing will
exactly where he would
change
go. Yeah.
anything. It would just be one or the other. And I
Yeah.
just think they're going to go with Mac Jones. But
Yep.
if they go with Trey Lance, Mac Jones is going to be going to New England. I think that's that's going to be the guy that's going to fall to the 15th pick, because if Trey Lance is still sitting there, why wouldn't Mac Jones still be sitting there? You're like, all of a sudden someone just moved up and, oh, Mac Jones is now of it. Okay, I guess that could happen. I seriously doubt it will.
All right, well, let's round out the first half of this with the 16th pick with Arizona here. They are in need of tight ends, defensive lineman, corner. Christian Barrymore is still sitting here. I think this is a home run for them. They need him. He's going to really fit what they need at this position.
Mm-hmm.
And just I know that they've really been hammering home how they've been just getting all of this offensive talent and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Arizona picking up Christian Barrymore to tag along with J.J. Watt to try to bolster their defensive line. That's going to be a huge home run for them. I really like that pick for them.
That division is going to be nasty next year.
It's going to be disgusting, especially if San Francisco ends up with Justin Fields instead of Mac Jones. Man,
you telling me no part of that division. I'm like, okay, all right, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, he's ready to get out of that division.
You still want to stay here? You still want to be there one more year? Okay, I guess.
Yeah, no, that division is kind of ridiculous to me. So I am looking forward to seeing how that one plays out, and we'll get to that in our kind of preseason pre-shows for all these different divisions. That's going to be one that's going to have a fun conversation to have there. So let's move on. Pick 17. Oakland Raiders are on the clock here. Top needs listed by PFF is going to be tackle, guard, corner, and safety. What do you got here?
I don't have a whole lot because I was just kind of waiting to see how the board feel.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm sitting here. I've been going over the last couple of minutes, but I'm just I don't like Vegas in this spot because Vegas is one of them weird drafting teams that just I could see them getting a wide receiver right now. Just, I mean, they do. So I don't say they don't have bad drafts. They have weird drafts.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm already questioning the Kenyon Drake signing. Okay, you already had a running back, and they're very good on overdrafting their positions, especially their skill positions. And that's even though it's not a need, they don't necessarily address a need in the first round. They'll address something else, which I think is very valid. Now, it's trying to keep it, trying to keep it conservative and keeping it what should be conventional, I don't know if I don't think I'm feeling the offensive line.
Oh, okay.
I'm really not. I don't think that's what they're going to address. I think they're going to address something on the defensive end. So with that, I think it's going to be Trevon Moehrig. And so that would be my pick. I think they're going to pick the safety. They definitely need to bolster up their defense. Definitely, if they're trying to do anything to try to slow down Kansas City, they're gonna need all. I think that's where you want to go anyway.
That makes sense. I like that, and it is a need. They need defensive backs. Trevon Moehrig, I think he's another really solid defensive back. I think maybe they might want to go with J.C. Horn to kind of match up with the number ones over there. But if you're just looking to keep everything in front of you, just don't let anything behind you. Trevon Moehrig is a huge help to that. I do think that's a very solid pick at a TCU. He's been playing some solid football out there. So, man, I like that pick a lot.
I mean, it could be J.C. Horn. I wouldn't be. I would just if me grabbing which one. I think they're gonna go for the safety. That's just me. I don't know. Nothing. I mean, I think it's 1,000 cornerbacks in here.
And I think it also makes sense that they don't go with offensive tackle or any offensive lineman because they still don't even know who their quarterback is that they need to protect.
Technically, right.
So are they really all in with Derek Carr? It never seems like Chucky over there is enamored with the guy that he has. The famous saying, his favorite quarterback is the next one. So yeah, I don't know what they're kind of looking at when it comes to the quarterback position, and I don't see them trading down out of this to try to go get one of these Kyle Trask or Davis Mills or anything like that. So I think I like that pick with Trevon Moehrig going over to Oakland. Now Miami's back on the clock here at pick 18. They got their second pick in the first round here. They need tackles, anything offensive line, and I do know they need edge threats or defensive linemen. I think this is where they do go with the offensive line. Christian Darrisaw sliding here.
Definitely.
So I think that this really fits for them. I know they could go with edge threats and continue to bolster up their defensive side of the ball, but I think once you get once you're kind of looking at the uh, Miami Dolphins, they're kind of focusing on making sure they figure out what they have with Tua. They've already got him a weapon in Jamar Chase in this draft as it stands right now. Okay, let's go get him some protection as well, as much as we can. Let's bolster that up, and you're getting really good value with Christian Darrisaw out here. So pick 19 now. We got the Washington football team. They're trying to still figure out what their team name's going to be going into this season. I do know I think they've started petitioning for different names and getting votes from their fans. But as it stands right now, it's still the football team. So at 19, where do you see them going?
I think they did so much in free agency. It's interesting what they say their needs are. Like they said, we still need a quarterback. You just signed a quarterback.
Yeah, but you got Ryan Fitzpatrick. You need a quarterback of the future. I think that's what they're saying there.
Yeah, at this point, I guess I'm looking at it just from a round one standpoint.
Yeah,
like, this shouldn't be the first thing on your board. You really dressing a quarterback at the 19th pick?
Well, I don't think. Well, if Mac Jones falls to him, possibly, yeah.
I get that, but I mean, really, is Mac Jones going to fall past New England?
I don't think they do. But I mean, that is the question. If Mac Jones does fall to New England, are they even in love with him enough to take him?
True. Yeah. Well, I guess that remains to be seen. If that happens, that'll be something to look for tomorrow.
Because I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they didn't go quarterback. Because it's been how long since New England's taken a first round quarterback? I know they've had Tom Brady for 20 freaking years, but
we don't even remember. It's been a long time. So but again, not something that they needed to address. Now, the scenario we brought up is basically, Trey Lance fell to New England. It's not like they went after him, but he was just sitting there. But that's which should make this interesting. I don't think they're going to get a quarterback, so I'm going to take that out of consideration. Do they really go out there and grab a Rashad Bateman? They could. I just don't see it.
Not at 19.
I don't see it, and damn sure they're not going to address a tight end in the first round. So
use you a tackle and
linebacker, and I don't think it's going to be a tackle either. So Jeremiah
Owusu-Koramoah.
Yeah, thank you for saying it.
I knew you weren't going to get that one out.
I was like, whoa, yeah. Alphabet over here.
Yeah. No, I like that pick. I think that addressing the defense is probably the smartest thing for them with this pick, value-wise anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, quarterback, you're not going down to trade for like a Kyle Trask or get Davis Mills or something like that. And tight end-wise, again, there's no first-round tight ends outside of Kyle Pitts. Tackle, I mean, they could go with Elijah Vera Tucker. I do see that as a possibility there.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if they did want to go with Rashad Bateman, I wouldn't knock it per se, but I just think I don't think that puts you over the top the way that they're looking. I mean, you just won the division last year. You're running it back now with Ryan Fitzpatrick this year. You could go get him another weapon, but to me, let's go get our actual quarterback first before we go get more weapons.
Right.
So I could see why they would pass him up, but I could see them either going with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah here, or they could go with Elijah Vera Tucker. Those are my two options there, and whoever doesn't go there is going to go to Chicago. I think Elijah Vera Tucker is what Chicago should want here.
Interesting.
At tackle. I don't think that they go with Rashad Bateman because, I mean, we still don't know who our quarterback is. I mean, I know we're all saying we're all in on Andy Dalton.
I don't know about the Bateman thing. I think there's a possibility.
There is a possibility, but I don't see Chicago going with at the value of taking Rashad Bateman over the value of taking Elijah Vera Tucker. Elijah Vera Tucker, if he falls to you here,
right,
you need tackle. Our offensive line has been dismal. So Chicago really needs to fix that because that doesn't only help out Andy Dalton, that also severely helps out David Montgomery.
Right.
So I think that that's going to be the real reason why they should go with offensive line. Now, if Elijah Vera Tucker isn't there, then I would say Rashad Bateman is more in play now. But even with that, I wouldn't want if I'm Chicago, I wouldn't want Rashad Bateman here because I could also go get J.C. Horn or Greg Newsome if I could. And
J.C.
I
Horn
think
was my next pick.
it would to me. I would want Greg Newsome again. A lot of people are kind of sleeping on these Northwestern defensive guys. In my opinion, no, it's not even a homer pick for me. It's because Northwestern actually quiet as kept had the number 1 defense in the NCAA last year. I know it's COVID season and all that, but still they're playing against pretty solid talent, and they're the number 1 defense in all of the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Newsome was a huge part of that. I think that would be a home run pick for them as well. So it's, to me, Chicago should either be looking at Elijah Vera Tucker or Greg Newsome and leave it at that.
And your pick would be?
Mine, as it stands right now, is Elijah Vera Tucker because offensive line help is bigger to me what they need than defensive back. I know defensive back is a huge question mark, but our defense as a whole is pretty solid. So I think that they can kind of get away with another year passing on the defensive back in the first round. And you can also address this later in the draft as well.
Well, since you want to keep passing up on this guy, this is where Indianapolis will not. It will. It's where the buck stops here. And I believe they're going to go offense because I think they're going to start giving, Mr. Come on, give me
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, Mr. Wentz over here. As much weapons as possible, and it was already talks well before the draft, but I'm just bolstering up the offense in general anyway. And I think they're going to go receiver at this point. I think this is where Rashad Bateman gets grabbed.
All right.
Now they could completely go a different direction. They could grab something on the defensive end. Wouldn't even be opposed to that. Just
Jason Owe is available, and they need an edge threat there. If they want to go corner, you still got again J.C. Horn, Greg Newsome, Caleb Farley are all still available here.
Exactly.
So there's definitely options there. Tackle Walker Little still available. Man, they can go really any direction. You said the buck stops here. It wouldn't have fallen too much further because I would have taken him with Tennessee.
Right. It was just getting to that point. Like, okay, somebody's about to go and grab this guy. So
he's going, but I thought it was going to be just one pick later. No, but I like Rashad Bateman. I think that's a smart pick for Indianapolis because they need to figure out if they can get it done with Carson Wentz. Give him all the weapons that you need that he needs. And that's a home run pick to me. If it's not him, I mean, you've got other guys available. Terrence Marshall maybe. But I think Rashad Bateman is definitely the best available here, and he should be the highest pick.
I mean, they got Elijah Moore, but
yeah,
I mean, I just don't think they're gonna go with that guy.
I like Terrence Marshall more than I like Elijah Moore, in all honesty. But I mean, if you do go with Elijah Moore, I mean, hey, you could get some talent out of that. So,
and they play in a dome, so
fair. That is fair.
Could yeah. And I'm very big on these Southern guys coming up north, type of thing. Like some of these guys, I'm not feeling you.
Yeah.
You big USC guy coming over here to Buffalo.
Well, that'll be huge for Rashad Bateman. He's playing in TCF all this time, and now he gets to play in a dome half the year. He's gonna like that.
Man, what you talking about? Normal, fair weather conditions.
Anywhere from 65 to 70. I don't have to bundle up. I don't have to weigh myself down anymore.
All right, just put on my pass and that's it. I mean, come on, let's do this. Really.
Him and Michael Pittman just going off out there in Indianapolis.
I know, because playing at TCF. He's like sick of that swirling winds.
Didn't Brett Favre get a concussion playing at TCF that one year? Got tackled by like Peanut Tillman and knocked him out.
Yeah, and after hearing some of the nonsense he's been talking recently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Should have got knocked even harder.
Moving on.
Moving
Tennessee is on the clock at pick 22. Again, they need a wide receiver. They need offensive line help, but they also do need defensive back help. And I think this is where the buck stops with the sliding of these defensive backs. To me, again, like I said, Greg Newsome is the next best one, so I'm going to take him here. But
you stole my pick.
I would not be surprised if it's J.C. Horn right there, because again, that would fit. And I think Greg Newsome would in turn go next with the Jets if that was the case. But actually, I take that back. Or you're taking him there?
Who you grabbing?
I took Greg Newsom at.
Because Greg Newsom's off the board. J.C. Horn's going next.
Okay.
Just so we can just go back to back with this.
Okay, perfect. So that's where it is right there. Greg Newsom is going to Tennessee. The New York Jets grab J.C. Horn with their second pick in the first round, and now Pittsburgh is now on the clock.
Could
Really
you believe
quickly here.
J.C. Horn falls to 23?
I can see it.
It's ridiculous. There's some of this like, how are y'all this far down on the draft board? I'm at 23, popping champagne bottles right now. Like,
Honestly.
we stole the
And
draft. With
honestly,
these players.
all of these guys that were in the playoffs last year, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Baltimore, New Orleans, Green Bay, Buffalo, the Bucks, all of these guys, you are getting extremely good talent in value out of these last picks here because of what's happening at the top of the draft. And I think that's going to be the story of this draft is how much talent is going to fall, like just starting talent can fall to these guys.
Are you telling me that the Bears get the third best tackle at 20? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of excited about that.
And that's I really hope that's the way it plays out because they really need it.
I mean, outside of a corner, but
yeah, I mean, yes, they need to either go with Elijah Vera Tucker if he falls to them, or go get. This is where if Elijah Vera Tucker goes earlier, that means that we're getting Greg Newsom or J.C. Horn. So
right,
then they're not going to fall as far. So that would be the difference there.
Yeah, I like that. I like this. I like what their potential selections are. That any of the three tremendously help their team.
100%. But now Pittsburgh's on the clock here. They are looking at quarterback possibly, or they can go with the offensive line. I do think that they do go offensive line here, and I'm taking the Stanford tackle Walker Little.
Really?
Yep.
So you ain't buying into the running back thing, huh?
No, I don't see it. I mean, who at value wise, what running back are you taking this high?
Value wise, it will be. Where
who
you
even
at?
is the best running back? They're saying Javonte Williams is the best running back.
That's what they're saying, but that's not who I would take.
Najee Harris.
Yes.
I mean, to me, if you are going to go running back, I don't think you go
fit for that team. I don't know if he necessarily be the highest prospect.
I don't
think for what they're looking for out of a running back. I think he fits best with Pittsburgh, but not saying that.
My favorite running back, I think the guy that's going to be probably the best running back out of the prospects that come out of the draft this year is going to be Travis Etienne. Which, and then Najee Harris would be my number 2.
Right.
Travis Etienne, I think he just is so much more versatile. He can catch out of the backfield. He can be the bang bang guy if you need him to, but he is really elusive as well. So he can slip right past you if he needs to. So I
don't think you can go wrong with either pick. You were just asking me which one I think that it would be more suited. More suited, which I think was more likely which one they would take out of the three.
The reason why I don't think Najee Harris fits better though is because if you're having a bang bang guy, you're looking at more of a power back. You need an offensive line that's going to plug up, that's going to open up a little bit of a hole there, so you're only hitting one guy. They've lost a lot of offensive line talent this year in this free agency, and it's gotten worse and worse. So I would think that you would want to go with more of an elusive guy that can actually find his way outside of the backfield and then be able to make a play out in the open space. And then that also gives them a little bit of an extra dynamic part of their offense as well. Just another guy that they can throw the ball to. Because I know you got Juju Smith-Schuster and you got Claypool over there and Johnson as well, but you're gonna need another guy because I mean not many people are gonna be there's gonna be one double team on Juju Smith-Schuster, single out the other two guys, and then you're gonna be lined up with a linebacker. If you can get a speed guy like Travis Etienne who can actually break away from a linebacker out in the middle of the field, I like that a lot more than just having a guy that can run it straight up the middle. But I don't even think that that's the case for Pittsburgh because I do think that they will go with the offensive line. to help protect Ben Roethlisberger in his hopefully final season. Jesus, I don't think that they should be. I don't even think. I think he should have retired this past season. After this season had just wrapped up, but they're running it back again with him, so I think they got to protect him.
Yeah.
Now Jacksonville is on the clock with their second pick. A lot of second picks here.
Right.
Jacksonville traded with the Rams. I think this is with the what's his name? The cornerback that's with the Rams now. They traded. This is where they got this second pick from. So they're on the clock. This is your pick here. They got quarterback, tight end, tackle, safety. Which direction are we going here?
Um, hmm. I was looking at what was left on the board, and yeah, they need to address something in the defensive backfield. He's sitting there showing a need of a tight end. That's not gonna happen.
No,
and which leaves a tackle. I'm leaning. The direction I'm leaning in is two guys here, but there's a Tevin Jenkins and
Dylan Radons.
and Dylan Redmond, and it's almost a potato, and this is their second pick of the first round. So at this point, I think they're just going to take just the best available. So I'm leaning at this point just based on need and protection of your number one draft pick, which makes a lot of sense. I think Tevin Jenkins.
Okay.
That would be where I would go. Now they left a lot of stuff on the board.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could have gone with Jason Owe here, which would have been huge for them. Could have gone Caleb Farley, replace.
That's what I mean. It's just like I think they can use all of these guys. Technically, it's just okay.
Give a weapon for him to throw to with Elijah Moore.
But considering that they didn't really address protecting him, I'm like, I think this would make sense as a second first round pick for them to just go ahead and just now we're going to give you the guy that's going to help protect you.
I like it. I mean, and if Pittsburgh does go the other direction and go with a running back, then yes, I think that's where he would end up going. Walker Little could fall to Jacksonville at that point.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Now, Cleveland's on the clock at pick 26. They need everything on the defensive side of the ball except for corners. And this is where I think the slide for Jason Owe stops. I think he goes here. Or whatever best available edge rusher is there, whether it's Jalen Phillips or maybe even Kwity Paye is available at this point. We don't know.
Right.
Azeez Ojulari is available at this point as well. He could go here. I just think Jason Owe brings a little bit more, and that's why I'm picking him here over Azeez Ojulari. So that's where I think they're definitely going with an edge rusher here. I don't think that they're trying to go defensive line. I don't think there's no defensive lineman that's going to be available here. The only guy that would be is Christian Barrymore, but again, I don't think there's any way he slides past Arizona.
Right.
And then what else do they need? Linebacker.
And they just got Jadeveon Clowney.
Exactly.
So they kind of addressed that up. I mean, you can grab another one, but do you need to address it in the first round?
Again, no. So I think that's definitely where they go, and I think Jason Owe is going to bring a lot more than, because I guess you could say that Clowney is an edge rusher, but I see him more as a linebacker, which I think he'd be fantastic in that role, and you could actually flip flop Jason Owe there too. I know he is listed as an edge rusher, but he is technically a linebacker.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Now, pick 27, Baltimore Ravens are on the clock. This is their original one. They do have another one coming up, but this is their first pick. Where do you see them going?
Well, it would only make sense that they are going to get a receiver at this point. Yeah, they got Sammy Watkins, but I think that was just one of many steps. But I believe that's what they're going to want to address, especially with these two first-round picks. Now, the fact that they got that second one after trading Orlando Brown, it just making me wonder, okay, are they going after wide receiver first or second? At this point, in waiting this long, I think that second first-round pick is just helping them bolster up whatever they're trying to deal with. But I think this first pick that they're getting in the first round is going to address the need that they need most, which would be a receiver, as opposed to waiting a few picks to do it again.
Yeah.
Granted, at this
Especially
point, they could.
because
Go ahead.
well, the reason why I would say that's the case too is because the 2 picks right after it, they specifically do need that as well. The Saints and the Green Bay Packers especially need
So
wide receiver talent.
might want to get your guy
Yeah.
at this point. But with that, I believe the direction that they're going to go will be Terrence Marshall Jr.
Same here. I like Terrence Marshall a little bit more than Elijah Moore here, and I just think he fits it within that offense a little bit more. Hopefully, he can be their new number one.
Right.
Just be able to take that over. I still think even with the Terrence Marshall signing in the draft pick here, man, if that doesn't work out, I think next year it's put up or shut up for their GM or their organization here, because you need to figure out how to get him another weapon.
Right.
Or hey, go draft or go trade for Julio Jones at some point. That may be another option for them as well. But I like the pick with Terrence Marshall here, specifically targeting that need that they have there. Now, the Saints being on the clock with Terrence Marshall gone, I don't know if they go Elijah Moore here. I think that they would probably want to fix this defense a little bit more, and I think the slide for Caleb Farley stops here.
Okay.
And I think that they go ahead and pick that cornerback up, help bolster the defense a little bit more, and stop the bleeding so that they don't have to get into these shootouts as much with now these two guys who really haven't really been a part of these shootouts as much. I mean, obviously, Jameis Winston has been a part of these shootouts, but he's actually been the reason why the shootouts began anyway with that 30 for 30 2 years ago. But hey, I think that this helps the Saints just be able to go out, play the offense that they want to, and not have to overdo it, so that they can just kind of stay in the game defensively and let the offense kind of figure it out as they go.
And I thought she was going to take the bait and go grab an offensive player, but I can see, I can really see New Orleans looking at their defense, and any offensive player would just be just another piece on an extra weapon to have over there. They're pretty deep on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think it's that greatest need. So, but when it comes to that, to continue to keep their defense stellar and in contention, and it's one of these top half of the league defenses, yeah, I think a Caleb Farley makes perfect sense.
Yeah. All right. Well, on the clock now is pick 29, the Green Bay Packers. Again, another team that needs another wide receiver, or they can go defense, linebacker, cornerback. They literally are the exact same team as the Saints as it stands right now, except for the fact that they have their quarterback figured out.
Well, considering that they kind of mucked it up last year in the draft, in the efforts to try to fix it, I can definitely see Green Bay coming back for an encore and going after another quarterback to replace the quarterback that they already tried to get. Like, we're going to give you the right replacement this year.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding, people. But
Kyle Trask.
Kyle Trask. Exactly. The guy who was throwing to Kyle Pitts.
No.
Yeah. So, no, they won't go quarterback. Thank goodness. It's seemingly they will go wide receiver, but I can literally make a case that they will go defense.
Yeah.
I'm almost wanting to lean toward that way, but seriously, man, y'all need a wide receiver. I'm just because of that alone, and it's just been. I don't know why they seem to dance around this. Elijah Moore.
I
think this is where finally. Come on.
In my opinion, I actually think that Green Bay doesn't go that way, and I think they go with the linebacker.
See, that's what
I think that they either reach for Azeez Ojulari and get a pass rusher. They could go Nick Bolton, but I don't think they like the kid out of Missouri, so I think they actually go with the kid out of Tulsa and Zaven Collins.
Interesting.
But
I get what I get where you're coming from.
And I think it's just because I don't think that they see the value in Elijah Moore as much as like the guys at the top of the draft, but they do need to figure out the number 2 wide receiver, and I think Elijah Moore could be that for sure.
Truth be told, I can see them trading out of this pick.
True.
At some point.
They could do that as well. I could see them actually also trading up again.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of different kind of situations that we can find Green Bay in next season or
Right.
tomorrow night anyway with this draft. So, but Buffalo is on the clock now. They need defensive help for sure. At pick 30 here, I think they're going with Azeez Ojulari here. I know cornerback is in need, but you've got an edge rusher out of Georgia with Azeez Ojulari here. He's just been sitting here, kind of been staring them in the face. I think they could possibly end up trading up for him, or one of these other guys. Maybe if they want to go get a Jalen Phillips or something like that. If he does end up falling a little bit further, Jason Owe. But I think Azeez Ojulari goes here.
Maybe I ain't doing my due diligence of what Buffalo needs are. I don't know what you seen last year, but I know what I seen. Why isn't running back on this list? Like, who do they have in the backfield? Literally, I'm not saying that maybe that's not their number one need. However, the dismal run game that they had last year I would question that.
I would think I understand what you're saying, but I think that you can address that later in this draft. I think that the talent on the defense at this point is just too good to pass up.
Pause there. Put a pause in there. What you're saying, I agree. Let me say a little for what I'm. Let me say it a little clearer. Then, they don't have a running back. Let me be very clear. It's not like, oh, they still have such and such over there. Yeah. I don't even want to say these people's names because they're not. I think Zach Moss and Devin Singletary, y'all are trash. I'm sorry. They need someone else. They need to take the page of what Indianapolis did last year.
Yeah.
You know, they got this formula right. You all don't. You all need running back help. I know that y'all don't value running backs, but this is when you need to value a running back when you don't have one.
No, and I do agree with you, but to me, I think they can go do that in the second round.
Then they're gonna get some crappy. They're gonna get another Zach Moss, and they're gonna get another Devin Singletary. I don't think these top three guys are. I think those are.
But so
any of those three are better than what they got. Now after that, it could be questioned whether or not a rookie running back could come in and actually, you know.
Say Travis Etienne is here. Say Najee Harris is here. Whoever, if Pittsburgh does go with a running back and they take one off the board, whichever one is available, I'm sorry, but I have to take Azeez Ojulari over whatever running back is available, whether it's Najee Harris or if it's Travis Etienne. I think Azeez Ojulari, he just has so much talent to give on that on the defensive side of the ball that you just can't pass him up here, especially because you need an edge rusher still, and I know you need a running back for 100%, but I feel like you can address that later in the draft.
See Buffalo get any stronger. That's what it really comes down.
I think it's hard for you too because you also have to. Kansas City fan, you also have to pick for Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm picking two back-to-back picks. You know, I'm like these are threats. You know, and I'm like, man, why am I picking these people? You get to hit Miami, Philadelphia. Like, I'm like, ain't it? They don't even have rivals. You know, like, come on, at all. So moving on.
Kansas City. I mean, sorry, not Kansas City. Kansas City's pick is on the clock, but that is Baltimore Ravens. Who
Orlando Brown has just got picked.
Yeah, Orlando Brown has been picked. Yes.
Okay.
Which I could actually see them replacing Orlando Brown with a tackle here, but it's up to you.
So, see, this is where I can see a Rondale Moore getting picked. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
two wide
Jesus.
receivers anyway. No. They could get a second wide receiver. I don't think they will.
I didn't even see he was still on the board.
But taking a page out of what you were saying a little bit earlier, it's showing that they need an edge rusher. I think I'm gonna go. I think this is where I'm gonna go a little bit on a limb because I think they're gonna go defense.
Okay. There's a defensive guy on the board that I'm looking at right now that I think that if he's available at 31, that's a home run pick for them. I'm not gonna say who it is. I'm gonna let you make the pick, and then I'll let you know who I think they should go with.
That's fine. But for what I'm looking at, I think they're gonna go Nick Bolton.
Okay.
I think they're gonna go with this linebacker. I'm not saying that they doesn't necessarily show that they need it, but this is Baltimore. And if Baltimore doesn't do anything else, they keep their defenses intact. And if it just means it may not be their greatest need, but considering I think they can address some of these other positions in other rounds,
Yeah.
where they're just taking the value pick of they may not even go linebacker. But this is just kind of me looking at. I don't think they're necessarily going to just. We're gonna go for edge rusher. We're gonna address that in the first round. I don't think they're gonna address that in the first round.
I think with Gregory Rousseau sitting there,
think so.
they possibly could. I like he's the other part of the tandem that they had out there in Miami with Jalen Phillips.
I seen him and I was just like, maybe, but I don't know if they figure that we can get it. We can get another edge rush after that. I mean, you got Ronnie Perkins and there's a couple more people out here.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. Carlos Basham is still out there.
Peyton Turner,
yeah. Which I respect, but I think I like Gregory Rousseau a lot. Wherever he goes, he's going to be another guy that's going to be impactful. He's not going to be as impactful as Jalen Phillips, in my opinion, but he is still right there. Like I think he's definitely going to bring some much needed depth to whoever has a kind of revolving door at that defensive line position. So yeah, I like him, but I think that would be a steal for them at 31 if they do end up going with him. But Nick Bolton as well. I think that definitely will address some of the needs that they do have as well. They could go tackle. They could go with Dylan Raduns if they needed to kind of replace Orlando Brown if they wanted to, which would make sense, especially because Dylan, I believe he did end up playing on the right side, which that's what I think a lot of people are kind of freaking out about with Baltimore. I kind of went back and looked back at that trade. Orlando Brown isn't their left tackle truly. Whoever, I forget who it is, but whoever is coming up, who's recovering from their injury, he's coming back up. He's their true left tackle. They really traded away their right tackle. Gotcha. Baltimore did. So,
and I don't see them going after a tackle. I just don't.
I mean, if you're looking to continue to make sure that you have one of the best running games in the league, I could definitely see you going with Dylan Raduns here. I wouldn't hate the pick at all. It would make sense to me. It fits. I mean, he's kind of highly touted in this tackle kind of. He's a part of that group of really solid tackles that are in this draft with Tevin Jenkins, obviously Rashawn Slater, Penei Sewell, and them. He's not as good as those two up at the top there, but he definitely does bring some impact. He's an impact player at the offensive line position anyway. So I can see them going there, but I would rather them, like, if you're looking for a team to just really put themselves over the top, I think if they would go with Gregory Rousseau here, that would just kind of blow it out of the water for them with the first round. With going with the wide receiver with their first pick and now this pick, that would just, they would be killing the draft at that point with those two picks.
Gotcha.
But no, I like the Nick Bolton pick too. I mean, it fits a need. They need to fix parts of the defense as well.
And the back ends of these rounds, especially like the first rounds, tend to get a little bit more conservative.
Yeah. And it's not always needed. So it's a lot of the time they're going with best available just to, hey, let's continue to fix the positions that we can.
It's more based on that alone. Yeah. This possibly Nick Bolton could be going middle of the second round, as far as I know. I don't know. But hell, he could be going in the middle of the first round. We just don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, to round things out here, we've got the Buccaneers back on the clock here. And they've returned. This is what I want to talk about earlier. Outside of their uniform choices, they actually ended up returning all of their starters already before they made the signing that they did earlier this morning. But they got all 11 starters on offense and defense returning back. Plus, now they've got back also Antonio Brown. He just re-signed a 1-year, $6.25 million contract for this year.
WTF?
How? Where is this money coming from? How do they keep pulling this? It's like that clown trick where they got the handkerchief and it just keeps coming out of the pocket. Just like, where is this money coming from? They got an endless supply. Like, there is a hard cap in this league. I just don't see how they were able to figure it out.
How did they get all these numbers under? You still haven't even signed any rookies yet.
No, and they do have enough.
Still under the cap some kind of way. Like,
it's insane.
Do I dare say collusion somewhere in this? Like,
it's Tom Brady. Collusion always falls Tom Brady.
I'm saying this is even apart from that. Something just seems a little off about this is the only a
Man,
Super Bowl winning team that was able to bring everybody back
everybody.
has never been done in the history of the NFL. Ever. What the hell? How did I'm still asking how was this even possible? Like who I really need to see the list of who took pay cuts and how much that added up to because I'm not seeing it at
Yeah,
all.
it doesn't add up to me, and I was shocked when I saw it this morning. I was almost certain that Baltimore was actually going to end up with Antonio Brown, matching him up with his cousin Hollywood Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and actually having a number one receiver out there, along with Sammy Watkins being the number three and whatnot. I think that would have been a huge splash for them. But man, Antonio Brown kind of he was putting out the information like, hey, like, I'd like to come back, like please, like I'm getting these offers from elsewhere. I think he was kind of putting that up as a smokescreen because
Mm-hmm.
he really wanted to play back in Tampa again with Tom Brady, and he was just like, I have other offers, I might take them. Like, you guys please just give me something, just any contract, just put it on the table and I'll sign it. And that's exactly what looks like it just happened here. And I'm just like, wow, they got
Held
everybody
out for
back.
$3 million.
It's insane. But Tampa is on the clock, and they will finish out the first round of the NFL draft.
I find that amazing that Kansas City bombed on this one again. Not that they did anything wrong, but there was talks about them
Getting them.
possibly getting them. You know, and then nothing else. I heard nothing after that.
I just think Tampa, there's something in the water out there that makes them just enamored with them. They got shot with Cupid's arrow there, and they're just anybody who played there just wants to stay. I don't know what it is, but the
It doesn't hurt to be in Florida.
does not. Jeez, they really figured it out. They got the secret sauce out there. But for them, their needs are to find the predecessor of Tom Brady, or they go defense here, finish out bolstering that defensive line, go cover something on the back end here. Um, I could see them going with Gregory Rousseau if he's available at this spot. I know they don't technically need another edge rusher, but defensive lineman, I mean, obviously, edge rusher is a part of that. I think that could help
Mm-hmm.
um, with their defensive situation. I don't think that they go quarterback here.
No,
I don't think they're grabbing like Kyle Trask or Davis Mills or anything like that.
not at all.
I think that Tampa Bay is 100% in on Tom Brady this year. Maybe they go get a veteran guy off the street for a year, to back him up just in case Tom Brady goes down.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're trying to get the future. So I mean, with Gregory Rousseau standing there, I really want to take him, but I think I got to go with Asante Samuel because they need defensive backs. So Asante Samuel Jr., I think he gets taken here. Just I know they need more safety than
Mm-hmm.
corner, but I mean, corner safety you can kind of interchange those
Not
two all the
feeling
time.
Elijah Molden.
No, I think that it just fits better with them going with a
Homer pick from Florida State.
yeah, I don't know. They could go with Elijah Molden. I don't care.
No. I was just saying. I'm just that's a very real
if
thing,
you
though.
and you definitely could go with the actual true safety. I just think Asante Samuel is better.
That's fine.
As a DB in general,
And again,
you don't have to play him at corner.
and
You can play him at safety.
you can address safety in another round.
Yeah.
It's not that they got to address this in the first round, but I was curious as to what direction he was going. I was just looking like, they can go any direction. I don't look. Well, you can bring your whole Super Bowl team back. You don't have any needs.
It doesn't
you know
matter.
what I'm saying? This is house money. You pick who do you want to add to your team is all you really saying at this point. It's not even addressing anything. We just addressing that we have to be in this draft and we got some free picks.
Yeah.
Because this is literally house money at this point. Like, so I think that's a solid pick considering. I mean, you got this Homer. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah, I think it fits well, and I think I think that Asante Samuel, he can play safety if you need him to.
I mean, let's be real. By the end of the second round, or by the time they second round pick come back up, probably 2 safeties was taken off the board at that time anyway. So like, you just we're just gonna get the guy we want, and then we'll get us another safety that's just as good as this guy.
Yeah,
next round. So okay, Asante Samuel. Got
Well,
it.
that will round out our picks for the first round of this mock draft that we're doing here. Next time you hear from us, we're probably doing a reaction show to all 3 days of the NFL draft next week here. So we'll definitely can't wait for that. I mean, are we doing a live recording at all during the draft,
If
or
we can handle it, I mean, because I mean, what is the first round? How many hours?
it's probably 3 hours?
I don't care, but I mean, gonna do a
I
lot
mean,
of
we could
editing.
always. What I think we could do is just. I mean, this is us in real time trying to figure out what's happening tomorrow. No,
I don't mind. I mean, really, I don't.
yeah, I
Just
would. I mean, I could. We could set something up in here, and
we could discuss this off
yeah.
air, of course.
So we'll figure it out. You might see over the weekend just kind of live reactions getting put up if we do decide to do that. Otherwise, we'll do a formal sit down kind of after the dust settles on Saturday. We'll figure out all that situation as well. So you'll see something next week for sure. Otherwise, you can also be surprised if you see something over the weekend. But with that being said, I think that this has been a fun for me. I've loved looking at all of these prospects. I know it was a little bit of a chore for you. You don't
It only
watch
became
college
fun
football.
last night. That yeah, leading up to this, not so much.
Yeah. Well, but I think this is. I mean, this is kind of one of the biggest things happening in sports right now. Is all of these prospects that can be changing these NFL rosters coming out here. It's just fun to just kind of speculate where they're going, and I just can't wait to watch this tomorrow. This is going to be so much fun. But
Absolutely. I'm ready to shift gears and become a spectator and
just watch,
and then get to look at let's just see how how off we really were, and maybe we don't know a damn thing about what it takes to go into a draft and what these teams are really looking for. But then that could be a knock to, well, we only go off the information that's given to us, and sometimes there's just not enough information. And then there's also the other thing. It's just what go with your gut and what does your heart tell you want to go with? So subjectivity at its finest, and with that's what makes for tomorrow to be that much more exciting. Like, cause I'm just by pick 3. I can't wait. Like, cause that's where it's gonna kick off now. Cause it's like, okay, let's see officially who y'all gonna get.
What is San Francisco doing there? Yeah.
Right, officially. But then of course, round pick 4 is where it's really about to just. All right, the draft has officially started now.
Atlanta holds the car because we know San Francisco is going with a quarterback. Just a matter of which one. Now, but Atlanta, they could go quarterback, they could go tight end, they could go wide receiver, they could go defense, they could trade. Like, that is where the entire draft can definitely get busted wide open. And that could just completely negate everything that we just did here. So, I'm excited. I can't wait. This is going to be I'm going to be anxiously waiting to see how these things play out just in these next 36 hours. I mean, there could be a ton of trades that happen overnight. So, well, that's going to be it for us. I'm going to calm down a little bit, decompress a little bit before the draft starts. And we just thank you guys for listening. Let us know what you guys think down below about these picks and whatnot today. And kind of, even if you are hearing this after the draft has already started, let us know how wrong we were and how crazy these picks were. Otherwise, we will catch you guys next week, and you guys can have a good rest of your day.
Have a good day and have a good week.